The universe had forgotten the name of Earth long ago. But one man still remembered it. His name was Jace Arden. And for 30 long years he had lived alone on the abandoned research station called Outpost Helios. The outpost floated in the silent dark between stars, a lonely metal shell surrounded by cold space. No ships visited it, no transmissions reached it, and no voices answered Jace when he tried to speak to anyone. For decades, it felt like he was the last human alive. Every morning he followed the same routine. He woke up in a quiet room where the lights flickered like tired eyes. He checked the oxygen levels, he repaired the broken pipes, and he walked through the empty halls where only his footsteps existed. Sometimes he talked to the shadows just to hear something that wasn't silence. But the shadows never replied. Still, Jace survived. He hunted asteroids for minerals, he melted ice for water, and he kept the old machines running even when they screamed in protest. The universe had taken everything from him, but it had not taken his will to keep breathing. Yet something strange happened on the 31st year of his lonely life. Something impossible, something that should not have happened at all. While he was repairing a broken antenna outside the station, his suit sensors detected a signal, not background noise, not static, but a real, structured signal. A message. Jace froze. His heartbeat thundered inside his helmet as he whispered to himself, "That can't be right." But it was right. The signal grew stronger, weaving through space like a voice calling out to him. He rushed back inside, sealed the airlock, and ran to the command deck. All his screens lit up with glowing symbols he had never seen before. The message repeated again and again, pulsing like a heartbeat. It wasn't human, that much he knew. But it wasn't hostile either. It was inviting, almost gentle, a call for the first time in decades. Jace felt something he had forgotten. Hope. He enhanced the signal, studied every part of it, and finally translated the repeating pattern. Just 3 simple words appeared across the monitor, 3 words he had not expected. "We found you." Jace stepped back shocked. Who had found him? Why now? Why after all these years? Before he could think, alarms rang across Outpost Helios. A ship was approaching, fast, not a human ship. Not any class of vessel he recognized. Its design was smooth like liquid metal, glowing with soft white lights that drifted like fireflies. It slowed near the station, almost cautious, almost respectful. As if it knew it was approaching the last human in existence, Jace stared out the window with wide, fearful eyes for the first time in his life. He wasn't afraid of dying. He was afraid of what came next. He whispered one trembling question. "Who are you?" The ship blinked once, its lights answering him like a heartbeat. It had come for him, and the last human still breathed. Ready or not, the lonely years were over. Now a new chapter had begun. Jace stood frozen as the strange ship hovered outside Outpost Helios. For 30 years he had seen nothing but silence and empty space. Now something living, something intelligent, was waiting for him just beyond the glass. The message still glowed on his screen. "We found you." The words repeated again and again like a pulse. Jace took a slow breath. He was the last human, the last memory of a lost species. No one should have known he existed. No one should have cared, but someone had found him. Someone who had crossed the darkness of space to reach him. The ship sent another signal, and this time it was clearer. A soft tone filled the outpost, calm and gentle. Then a voice followed, formed by synthetic translation, human survivor. "We request permission to dock." Jay stared at the speaker, shocked, a real voice after decades of silence. His throat felt tight as he answered, "Permission granted." The docking bay lights flickered on, and the alien ship moved like a gliding creature. Graceful and precise, it connected with the outpost without a sound. For a moment, everything was still, Then the airlock opened. A bright white mist poured into the corridor, and from it stepped three figures. They were tall and slim, with smooth metallic skin that shifted between colors like gentle waves. Their eyes glowed with soft silver light, neither threatening nor cold. They looked at Jace with something he had not seen in years. Respect? The leader stepped forward and bowed slightly. "We are the Serati," the translator spoke for them. "We come in peace." Jace swallowed hard. He had read old human files about alien species long ago. But the Serati were not in any record. They were something new, something beyond anything humanity had known. "Why did you find me?" he asked quietly. The Serati leader tilted their head. "Because you are the last of your kind. And because we must tell you the truth." Jace felt a chill climb his spine. "What truth?" The alien looked around the ruined outpost. At the broken screens and fading lights, humanity believed its home was gone, the Serati said. But something survived. Jace's heart stopped for a moment. "What do you mean, survived?" The Serati raised a hand, and a small hologram appeared. It showed a green world shining under a bright sun. A world filled with forests, oceans, and cities built by hands that were not alien, but human. "This is Colony Epsilon 9, the Serati said. "A human colony that you were never told about." Jace stared at the image with trembling hands. Humans alive, living somewhere out there. It felt impossible. It felt unreal. "You are not the last human," the Serati continued. "But you are the only one who remembers the old world." A tear slipped down Jace's cheek. For decades he had lived believing he was alone. Now a new question formed in his mind. A question heavier than anything he had ever carried. "Why?" he whispered. "Why didn't they come for me?" The Serati lowered their head. "Because the colony did not know you existed." Jace felt his breath shake. "If they didn't know, then how did you?" The Serati's silver eyes dimmed. "Because something dangerous is coming," they said. "And only you can warn them." Jace understood one thing clearly now. His lonely life was over, and his purpose had only just begun. Jace sat in the command deck while the Serati ship drifted beside Outpost Helios like a silent guardian. His hands shook as he stared at the hologram of the human colony. Forests, oceans, cities filled with life, all the things he thought were gone forever. He wanted to believe it. He wanted it more than anything. But years of loneliness had taught him one thing. Hope was dangerous. The Serati leader, Liran, stepped closer, their metallic skin shifting softly with emotion. "You must understand," Liran said. "Humanity did not fall completely. It only disappeared from the places you once knew." Jace looked up. Confused, what happened to Earth? Liran's silver eyes dimmed. Earth was not destroyed, but it became unlivable for humans. A solar event damaged the atmosphere, poisoned the oceans, and forced your ancestors to flee. Jace swallowed hard. He had always imagined Earth dying in fire or war. But this was different. Nature itself had betrayed humanity. "And the colonies?" he asked. "How many are left?" Liran showed another hologram, a cluster of star systems marked with glowing blue points. 9 colonies survived, but only one remained strong. Epsilon 9, Jace stared at the map. "So many lost," Liran nodded slowly. "They lost contact with each other, then with Earth. And by the time they discovered Outpost Helios, you were already off the records." Jace felt a strange pain inside his chest. Not anger, not sadness, but something in between. "They didn't abandon you," Liran said gently. "They simply never knew." Jace looked away. He wanted to believe that too. He wanted to believe his own people hadn't forgotten him. Then Liran changed the hologram again, this time showing a dark shape, moving like a storm across space. An enormous mass, alive, shifting, consuming. "What is that?" Jace whispered. Liran's voice turned heavy. We call them the Vernex, a species that spreads like a plague. They consume star systems, drain resources, and leave nothing behind. Jace felt the blood drain from his face. And they're coming here, Liran nodded slowly. They have already destroyed 2 of your lost colonies, and now they are moving toward Epsilon 9. Jace stared at the dark shape again. He had survived loneliness, starvation, and isolation. But this was something worse, a threat not just to him, but to the last humans alive. Why me? He asked. What can I do? Liran's voice softened. You know old human technology, old human strategies, old human stories. The colony has forgotten its past. They have grown peaceful, trusting, unprepared. But you remember what humanity was. Jace felt a fire growing inside him. A fire he had not felt since he was young. A fire the universe had tried to kill but never succeeded. So you want me to warn them, he said. More than warn, Liran answered. You must lead them. Jace stood slowly. His lonely years had ended. But something much bigger waited for him now. A lost colony, a forgotten people, and a storm that could wipe them all away. For the first time in decades, he had purpose again. The last human was no longer just a survivor. He was needed. He was chosen. And the truth buried in the stars was only the beginning. The Serati ship carried Jace through silent space at a speed his old outpost could never reach. Outpost Helios grew smaller behind him until it became only a fading dot. For 30 years it had been his entire world. Now he was leaving it forever. Jace sat near a large window in the Serati vessel. Staring at the stars racing past, his heart felt heavy and light at the same time. Heavy because he was leaving the place where he survived alone. Light because he was going to meet humans again. Real humans, alive, breathing, living. Liran approached him quietly, their metallic form glowing with soft blue light. You are afraid, Liran said. Not accusing, just observing. Jace gave a tired smile. I don't know how to talk to people anymore. I don't know what they will think of me. Liran sat beside him. They will think of you as one of their own. Jace shook his head. No, I'm something else now. I survived in isolation. I look older, rougher, and I don't even remember how to live with others. Liran placed a hand on his shoulder with gentle pressure. Humanity adapts, they said. It always has. Hours passed. Or maybe days. Jace couldn't tell. The Serati ship traveled faster than any human technology he knew. Eventually, the navigation screen lit up, showing a bright star with a blue-green world orbiting it. Epsilon 9, Liran said, your new home. And perhaps your last. Jace stood and pressed his hands to the window as the colony world filled his vision. Clouds wrapped around oceans that sparkled with sunlight. Cities glowed with shimmering towers and vast green fields. Human life, everywhere, not a memory. Not a story, but real. His breath trembled. I never thought I'd see this, he whispered. The ship entered the atmosphere, gliding smoothly across bright skies. Jace could see people below, thousands of them walking through streets. Flying small craft, harvesting farms, laughing, living. Everything he had missed for decades. A landing pad opened, and the ship touched down gently. A group of humans waited outside, dressed in clean blue uniforms, their faces curious and tense. As the doors opened, warm air washed over Jace. It smelled of soil, plants, and life, things he had not felt in years. The humans stared at him with wide eyes. He could hear whispers. Is he really from Helios? He survived 30 years. He looks like the old Earth pictures. Their leader stepped forward, a tall woman with dark hair and a commanding presence. I am Governor Lyra Hale, she said. Welcome home, Jace Arden. Home. The word struck him deep. He almost forgot how it felt. Jace bowed his head, his voice rough. I'm not here to rest, he said. I'm here to warn you." The governor's expression changed instantly. Worry, fear, understanding. Liran stepped forward and projected the hologram of the Vernex. The dark storm moving through space, gasps and murmurs spread through the humans. "What is that? It's massive. Is it coming here?" Jace looked at all of them, people who had never known war, fear, or the dark edges of survival. "They are coming," he said, "and if we don't prepare, this colony will fall." The governor took a long breath, then nodded. "Then you will help us prepare," she said. For the first time in decades, Jace felt he belonged somewhere. Not as a relic, not as a survivor, but as someone who mattered. The last human had returned, and now he had a world to protect. The warning spread across Epsilon 9 like a shockwave. For the first time in generations, humans on the colony felt fear, real fear, the fear of extinction. Jay stood in the main command hall, surrounded by screens, maps, and worried faces. He had been alone for decades, but now thousands of lives looked to him for answers. He felt the weight, but he did not bend. Governor Lyra Hale stepped beside him. "Tell them what we must do," she said. Jace pointed to the hologram of the Vernex, the enormous living storm moving through the stars. "They consume everything," he said, his voice steady. "They do not negotiate, they do not stop, they only grow." The hall fell silent. Even the Serati delegation watched Jace, waiting, expecting. Jace took a breath. "When I lived alone, I learned one simple truth," he said. "You cannot defeat the dark by running from it. You face it. You outsmart it, and you fight with everything you have." Humans listened. Some with fear, some with hope, some with disbelief, but they listened. The colony began preparing. Factories shifted from peaceful work to defense manufacturing. Engineers studied old Earth blueprints Jace remembered from the outpost. Scientists worked beside the Serati to build new hybrid weapons and shields. For the first time, humans and aliens stood together, united by a single mission: survive. Days passed, then weeks. Jace trained soldiers, guided scientists, and planned defenses with the governor. He barely slept, barely ate. But he felt alive in a way he hadn't in decades. He had purpose, he had people. Then came the day the sky changed. Dark clouds formed in space as the Vernex swarm approached the planet. A massive shadow spread across the atmosphere like a living eclipse. Alarms rang across Epsilon 9. Every citizen ran to shelters or defense stations. The ground trembled as the swarm descended with a roar like thunder tearing through metal. Jay stood on the command deck. Staring at the incoming storm, Governor Hale turned to him. Her voice calm despite the shaking ground. "This is your plan," she said. "Tell us when to strike." He nodded. His hands hovered over the controls. He had survived isolation, hunger, loneliness, and despair. He was not going to lose now. The first wave of Vernex creatures hit the planet's shields, sending bright shockwaves across the sky. The shields flickered but held. Jace shouted, "Fire the Serati cannons!" Beams of white light shot from the towers, slicing through the dark mass. Explosions lit the sky as parts of the swarm broke apart, but the Vernex kept coming. Relentless, endless, hungry, Jace gritted his teeth. "Activate the Helios Protocol," he ordered. A plan only he could design, inspired by his outpost days. Built on desperation and clever human engineering, massive satellites uncloaked above the planet. Forming a ring, they charged with a deep hum, glowing brighter and brighter, and then a single pulse. A wave of energy blasted outward, pushing the Vernex back like a storm of light. The sky shook, the ground shuddered, and the swarm split apart, scattering into the void. Silence followed, a long, trembling silence. Then cheers erupted across the colony. The Vernex were not destroyed, but they were driven away. Humanity had survived, not by luck, but by standing together. Jay stepped outside the command center and looked at the sky. For decades he had been alone, forgotten, drifting in the dark. But now he stood among his own kind. Surrounded by life, hope, and unity, Governor Hale walked beside him. "You saved us," she said quietly. Jay shook his head with a small smile. "No," he said. "We saved each other, and as the sun rose over Epsilon 9, lighting the world with gold, the last human finally felt something he thought he had lost forever, a place to belong, a future worth fighting for, and a new beginning, where he was no longer the last, but the first of something greater."